everyone, I'm Miss Sylvest. I am the Veterinary Science Pathway teacher here at Career and Technical High School. I have a fun activity for us today that I'm going to walk you through, and then next week we are going to have our Zoom meeting where we're going to get together, and if you guys have questions, if you want to do this project together, we're going to have another opportunity at that time. So without any more delay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So real quick, I'm going to run through our supplies that we need. We are making bake and no bake dog treats. So the first one that I want to run through with you today is going to be the no bake option. So you're going to need a bowl, you're going to need a fork, you're also going to need a banana, your yogurt, which will come in this red cup, and your peanut butter. You're also going to need an ice tray and dog treats. So first thing that we're going to do is we are just going to go ahead and we are going to take our banana and we're going to peel it like so. And you're only going to use half of it for this option, and then you'll use the other half for the baking option. So try to get it as close to the middle as you can, and then just go ahead and break it in half. Put that in your bowl and set the other half of your banana off to the side. Once we have that, we're going to add 16 ounces of yogurt. So your yogurt cup here has probably the full 16 ounces in it. You'll just go ahead and dump all of that in. Just all of it goes into the bowl together. And it's going to have a real creamy consistency because this option for us is actually going to go into the freezer. So once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and add that heaping tablespoon of peanut butter. Now, we are using the Jif peanut butter. It's safe for dogs because it doesn't contain xylitol. Xylitol is toxic. It's a type of sugar that they add to a lot of everyday things such as toothpaste, a lot of the foods and the things that you drink, sodas, some of them are made with xylitol. So we want to just be careful and make sure we're not giving our furry family members anything that's going to make them sick. So with your peanut butter, you're going to just go ahead, get a heaping tablespoon, so about half of it should be good. And this may be the part where you get a little messy. Just go ahead and use your finger to scrape it in the bowl, just like that. So now that we have all of our ingredients in the bowl, we're going to take our fork, and this is where we're just going to have fun and just mash it all together. Your banana may be a little bit ripe, so you may have to just kind of get in there and just mash it up, cut it up, whatever you need to do. You might want to have a towel handy to wipe your hands off, all that good stuff, just in case you do get a little bit messier than you expect with this one. Okay. And you're just going to try to make it as smooth as possible. I know it's a little difficult with our ingredients here, especially if your banana is cold. It might be good to let it sit out on the counter for a little bit, whatever you choose. But once you get it all good and smooth and mixed, it's going to have this real nice creamy consistency. And I'm going to mash mine up just a little bit more here. Like I said, you might get a little bit messy. My hands are going all in this stuff, but that's okay because it's all ingredients that you could eat, and if you wanted to lick your fingers, you could, but I'm not a huge fan of Greek yogurt, so I'm going to just wipe my hands off once I'm done getting everything good and mashed. Okay. So it's looking good. I think this is a good consistency that we have here, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to scrape everything in the bowl to one side. Get it all together here. Okay. Try to make sure there's not too many lumps left in it. It's okay if there's a few, not a big deal. All right, and using my finger again, I'm just going to scrape my fork and I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay. Wipe my hands off. Okay, so now is where you're going to need your ice cube tray. So you should receive one of these in your little package. And what we're gonna do, you probably won't fill the whole thing, but you might. You can double this recipe, or you can even cut it in half and make a smaller batch. It's up to you and how many dogs you have and how many treats you wanna make. So with my spoon I used earlier, I'm just gonna go ahead and spoon it out and just start putting it into the ice cube tray. Just dollop it on into each of these little squares here. And you can smooth it out just like this to make them all the same, and you may actually fill your whole ice cube tray with this. So I don't know how much. When I made it at home, it kind of made just half the tray, but the squares in the ice cube tray at home were a little bit bigger than these. So we may have a better situation where we have a full tray of dog treats here. Okay. So I know that my dog loves Frosty Paws. They love to get that nice cold treat, especially in the summer when it's so hot like it is. So this is a great treat that you can actually keep on hand. I believe you can keep them in the freezer for up to 3 months after making them, and they'll stay good during that time. So it's a nice little on-hand treat that you'll have for your furry family member whenever they're good or just want to give them a fun treat to have. The only thing I will say about this treat, it can get a little messy. So you may want to check with mom and dad before giving it to them, and also giving it to them outside might be a good idea, because if they get on the furniture with this or decide to eat it on your nice brand new floors or what have you, it could make quite a mess. So outside is definitely a good idea when handling these treats. Okay, so I've got about all of my mixture there. I'm going to scrape the bowl just a little bit more, try to get everything out of there, and try to fill those spots that seem a little bit less filled than the others. Okay. And I'm going to give this a good old drop on the table, make sure that we get those air bubbles out. You see how we have some air bubbles coming, so one more scrape over the top, and there we go. So I'm going to set my bowl to the side now. And in our pack, we also got some milk bones. These are going to act as the handles to our treats. So you'll notice they're kind of big to just stick in there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to break them in half. Try to break them as best as you can. And you're going to stick these in each little square. Ooh, that one didn't break very well. Ooh. So this one's going to be a yucky looking one. Yucky handle. Oh well. I don't think they'll care. They're more about the taste than they are the look of it. So if you mess it up and you break them in a funky way, no big deal. Okay, and so you'll just do that for each of these squares. And like I said, if you get a little messy with it, no big deal. I feel like your audience is really not going to mind what their treats look like as long as they get that treat. Okay. And there we go. So you should have something that looks like this at the end of it. And all you're gonna do now is stick this in the freezer, and they're done. Let it sit in the freezer for about 3 hours to let them harden up. Once they do, you can crack your ice cube tray. They'll pop right out, or you can use the handles to pull them right out. And that's it. So hopefully your dog enjoys, and hopefully you had a great time making this treat. I will see y'all next time. Hi guys, welcome back to our second activity for the Vet Science Pathway. Again, I'm Miss Sylvest, and this time we're going to be making the baking option. So this time you may want to ask mom and dad for a little bit of help, because we are going to be using some of our kitchen appliances. So first things first, before we get started, you do need to go ahead and preheat your oven. So you need to go ahead and turn it on to 350 to bake. And that should be ready for us by the time we need it. Also, you're going to need a baking sheet or a cookie sheet, and you're going to want to line it with parchment paper. I don't have that on hand right now, but hopefully you do and you can get that ready. Like I said, ask mom and dad if you're not sure. So what you're going to do next, after you've lined your baking sheet, you've got it all ready, we're going to go ahead and mix all of our ingredients. So what you'll need is you will need some oats. You will need the hand-rolled oats, not the quick oats. The quick oats will not bake the same as the old-fashioned oats. So your old-fashioned oats, you'll want to put it in a blender, and you will want it to have a powder consistency, almost like flour. That is actually a lot safer for dogs to eat rather than the regular flour like you would normally use. So that's why we use oats. So with your oats already blended and powder consistency, you're going to go ahead and put it in your bowl. And I'm actually going to save just a little bit for the side because I'm going to put some on the table for my dough. So put that off to the side in my cup here. Then you're going to take that other half of that banana that you had earlier for your no bake option, and you're just going to go ahead and plop that in the bowl as well. Make sure you take all of the peel off. I'm going to break mine up just a little bit, and this is where you are going to get your hands a little dirty, so just be expecting that. You're also going to put in, it calls for 2 heaping tablespoons of peanut butter, but if you use what you have left from the original activity, that should be enough. So I'm just going to make sure I scrape all of this peanut butter out of our container here. Use my finger to plop it on in there with the rest of my ingredients. There we go. Okay. And like I said, if you need to add a little bit more, that is perfectly fine. I'm just going to use what I have on hand here, and it should come out about the same. Next, you're going to add your yogurt. For this one, you are going to need about, let's see here. Actually, you know what? Just kidding. We aren't going to use any oatmeal for this one, or not going to use any yogurt for this one, sorry. But you are going to need an egg. Your egg you're going to want to go ahead and crack. You might need some help from Mom and Dad with this one. And you're just going to go ahead and plop that on in there. So now that we have all of our ingredients in the bowl, I like to use a fork to whisk mine, but if you have an actual blender or if you have a whisk that you would prefer, go ahead and grab that and just go ahead and start mashing it all together. And once you mash the banana, kind of mix it, you're going to notice it's going to get a bit of a doughy consistency. And this is the part, once I have my banana mashed, I like to get in there with my hands and just kind of do it all together just like this. And it should stick together, start kind of forming a dough. It's going to be very gross, very messy, but kind of fun. Okay, mashing it all together. Make sure those bananas are getting nice and mashed and creamy with your oats here. Also make sure you have that towel on hand because you're probably going to need it to wipe your hands off after this. And once you see that the lumps are kind of gone from the banana and it has a doughy consistency just like this, try to form it into a ball as best as you can. I'm going to try to get all the bits out of the bottom of the bowl as best as I can. Okay. It's a little sticky, but that's okay because that's what we have the parchment paper for. The parchment paper is going to keep it from sticking to our pan too much. So you should have a nice ball of dough just like this, and a nice set of messy hands to go with it too. Okay, so now that we have that, we are going to wipe our hands off. So I've got my paper towels over here, and just gonna wipe this off real quick, that way I don't make a huge mess. All right. You should have a flat surface that you're able to spread your rolled oat concoction on, just the powder. And what you're going to do with that is you're going to take your ball of dough and you're going to try to knead it a little bit. So just go ahead and mash it down, and that's going to add a little bit more consistency to it to get it to where you can work with it a little better. And you're just gonna fold it over a couple of times, just play around with it, get it to that texture that makes you feel like it's like dough. All right, so now what you'll need is a rolling pin, or if you have a cylinder, like a bottle of water or something on hand, you're going to roll it out. So I have my bottle of water over here that I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna roll it out like this. Try to get it as flat as you can. And I'm gonna flip it over, get some more of that oats on there, roll it out even more as best you can. You wanna try to get it as flat as possible, just like this. And once you get it to a good flat situation, what you're gonna grab now is you're gonna grab your favorite cookie cutter. I typically have a bone-shaped cookie cutter, but I left it at home, so I'm just gonna improvise, and I'm just gonna use my spoon here and do little shapes if I can. They're not gonna be the prettiest, but you should be able to just kind of cut it out like this, and then take your shape. And this is what you're gonna lay on the parchment paper. You'll lay however many out. You can keep rolling and keep making shapes as best you can until you use up most of the dough. Once you do that, you're going to put your treats that are on the parchment paper on the cookie sheet into the oven, and you're gonna bake them for about 16 minutes, 16 to 18 depending on how well your oven works. And that's it. You'll take them out. You'll want to flip them halfway through. Once they're done, let them cool, and you have a nice little treat for your furry family member. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for me. I will be answering any questions on the Zoom meeting. If you guys run into any issues, any problems, or if you just want to make this together and have some insight, I'll be there for you. Other than that, though, it's been fun, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.